Good evening. This is Gary Green, Genealogist General, and this is the June 2024 Genealogist General Forum. I'm going to share my screen and commence with the Genealogy Snapshot. This is the presentation that I'll be giving to the XCOM tomorrow, and I want to be able to give you a heads up of what's going to be presented. Our backlog in December 2022 is 13 weeks for new applications and 26 weeks for supplementals. As of May, we were up to 12 weeks and 6 days and 43 weeks and 6 days for supplementals. So we have suffered a loss of two genealogy staff members, and we've gone through construction in the building that has slowed down our production. I want to reassure you that my goal is to obtain at least 90% approval rating for both supplementals and new applications. The new applications in this time period were down to 86.4, and the supplemental approvals are down to 43.3%. That's January through May of 2024. I also want to reduce the amount of time the staff spends on each application. It looks at this point that we're about 2.23 hours per application. We should be down to 30 minutes to 60 minutes if we're getting the product in properly. And looking at the current status of applications as of May, we've got 35,000 members. Applications received 1,500, supplementals received are 520, and memorials are 16 in that time frame. We registered 1,578, or about 315 per month in that time period. Pending applications, this is my phrase for anything that email is sent back to the state point of contact to fix. We've had 132 on new, 58 on supplement, 58 on admin, total of 248. And 58 on admin bothers me still. That has to do with signatures missing, not enough money coming in with the application, or birth certificates that are not properly prepared, and DAR forms that are being cut off and not printed properly. So we need to keep on working on that from everybody's viewpoint. The administrative errors should not be occurring. We've re-reviewed 172 applications in that time. That's down quite a bit from previous 6-month, 5-month periods. So that means we haven't had as many bad pendings that had to have a full review of the application. In the time period, we flagged 287 patriots or lineages, and for a total of 697 that are in the PRS at the moment. One problem that we do have is there are 1,085 patriots or lineages in the DAR that have been flagged and are not flagged in the SAR. Included in that is 185 applications that are after 2012, or patriots that are approved after 2012. That tells me that when we're submitting applications, we definitely need to look at the DAR to make sure that the patriot or the lineage has not been flagged, and if it has, make sure that you can address the concern that the DAR has for it so that we can approve it in the SAR. In the same time period, we've expedited 19 applications. Backlog in general, we had 812 new member applications, 722 for regular membership. 1,002 supplementals were in the backlog, and then 11 memorials. This slide is a new slide that is just being prepared. Just kind of go over with you. The red is the number of applications received during that particular month. The bottom line is the month problem, or the month identification. The blue is the number of applications approved during that time frame. So if the blue is above the red line, we're reducing the backlog. If it's below the red line, we're increasing the backlog. The backlog is the yellow dots up in the top. That's saying how many applications have been received, but are not ready to, are not being reviewed at the point. You can see that in May of 2023, we had our lowest uh, backlog, and then it steadily increased from that point. From the July of 2023 on, we started working on construction in the building, and our efficiency started to reduce. And then in September of 2023, we started and we reduced one member in our staff. And then by March of 2024, we lost our second uh, staff member, and the increase in backlog is starting to show. Now, for some emphasis, we've been looking at pending application numbers, and they are decreasing. That's a positive viewpoint, positive look from everybody in the registrar business, gaining new members along the way. So well done, keep it up. Training new registrars. I'm hoping that we have a a good program at the state and chapter level, but if not, you can use the presentations we have online at the national level. And if you get into a sticky point, you need to realize we're always training new registrars, and we need to have a plan for how we're going to onboard those registrars. One point I need to bring up is not really our business, but it is our business. I think we need a cheerleader in every chapter, in every state, to focus on a retention plan. We can do all the hard work we're doing in getting new members. And if we don't retain our chapter membership, we don't have the capability of improving our society. And then we don't have the capability of paying our staff members because we don't have enough members to sustain their salaries. So it's important that we think about the retention plan. And I think the next registrar general, that'll be his primary focus, is retention for 2025, 2026. One item that I want to emphasize is the Genealogy Committee Endowment Fund. Not many of us have heard of that. This particular fund has two parts to it. A quarter of the money that comes into the checking account for this fund is designated to support SAR members going to the Roots Deck or to the National Genealogical Society meetings or congresses, and or the American Legion conventions, where we can recruit members. And we have to set people up with bling. We have to set people up with recruiting capabilities at these meetings. And this is a fund that we can use for that. 3/4 of the money that's in the checking account goes for continuation training for our staff registrars, our staff genealogy staff. These folks need to be up to speed. They need to know the current uh, resources and techniques across the nation, and they can only do that by going to get professional development. This fund helps them get into that professional development. In the next uh, edition of the SAR magazine, Denise Hall is going to have a genealogy corner that's going to talk about artificial intelligence in family search. And I want to go through and try to show you what that looks like. And I'm going to do it by demonstration, and I have to unshare my screen and then share it again when I get to this part. But I just want you to maybe copy down this URL, familysearch.org/search/full text. To get into it, you have to log into the family search. So I'm going to try clicking on this, and I'm going to stop share for a second while I pick this back up. So okay, I clicked on it. That means I have to log in. So I'm going to sign in to Family Search, and it's going to come up with find results with full text search. And if you can look at the URL up here, you can see that it's search/full text. And I'm going to do a search for one of my patriots. And I'm going to search so that you can see that I have 2,068,000 choices for Oliver Kidder. Now that's a little bit excessive. I don't know as I've got time to do that. So I'm going to try my techniques, and I'm going to put quotation marks on Oliver Kidder so that that becomes a primary point of search. And I drop it down to 134. So can I reduce it some more? Well, if I know when he lived, I might be able to say he's in the 1800s is when I want to look for him. And I'm going to look for somewhere around 1810, and I'll apply that. Then I might look for the record place, but this one already says I have 7 results in 1810. And here's a deed for Oliver Kidder. And I'm going to look at that just to say, well, what the heck? This may be the guy that I need. So I'm going to click to see it. And it comes up and I can see something highlighted here. I can't really read it. So I can increase it, zoom in, and now I can read. And if I'm good at 18th century, 19th century calligraphy, I might be able to read it. But it'd be easier if I just had somebody type it out. Well, artificial intelligence on the right says this is the will of Fairhaven of, and it goes through a whole litany. And if you get down here far enough, you can see that Oliver is highlighted on blue now because I've got my mouse over the word Oliver in the uh, text that has been transcribed by the artificial intelligence. And what technique is to copy this, just do a copy like this and paste it onto a Word document, and then go through and say, well, this doesn't make sense. Let me go back here, see if I can figure out what the words are. You can edit this, and now you can print this uh, deed out, and you can print the translation out so that when you send it into the staff, they can read it as well, and they can confirm that it's from an original document. So these techniques, this particular artificial intelligence program has been used by several members in the genealogy community, and they're starting to recognize that this is a valuable tool. So once again, URL is familysearch.org/search/full text. And I'll be sending this out in the next little bit so people can see it in writing as well. Accomplishments for future activities. We've conducted a Patriot Research System forum in May and invited many of the genealogy members to participate. I've submitted an opinion on 8 appealed applications in this time period. I participated in a hiring process for a replacement genealogist for Mike Ditto. He's retiring on the 10th of July, and we're in the process of hiring people to replace him, one full time and one part time. And we're adjusting hours for our existing staff so that we can support adding a full-time and a part-time new genealogy staff member. In May of this year, I visited the staff in Louisville to coordinate some activities, and then I changed the label of the donations section to the Genealogy Committee Endowment Fund on the webpage. If you're looking at the Americanism report and you want to say, well, I gave some money to this particular fund, it would be called Genealogy Research Fund in the Americanism report. But I encourage you to support this endowment fund to help get our staff out for their continuation training. The goals for 2023, 2024, I want to get those 1,000 SAR patriots that are flagged in the DAR, have them reviewed, and make sure they either are flagged in the PRS or we make a statement that they're acceptable to the SAR. I still want to reduce our new applications to 4 and 5 week term for backlog. I want to reduce the supplementals to 10 weeks. It's going to take a concerted effort on everybody's part to get that down. I want to coordinate the development of a new application system. The folks that are working on that have received a bid for how much time it's going to cost. Hopefully, they'll be presenting that at the Congress in July. I want to present a new registrar training class once the online application system is updated. I want to push to add the 7th and 8th genealogy staff member so that we have enough people to cover for when one of our staff members gets sick or needs personal time off or takes vacation. I want to investigate what it would take for us to have an automated applications purchase system. The current system right now is you have to go in and you request to purchase a new application. Jesse Hagan comes in once a week. He goes through all the requests. He pulls the application, he scans what needs to be scanned, and he sends it out as an email once a week. This, if you do it with a DAR, you can see that it's instantaneous. Once you pay your fees, then you get it. So we should be able to work on that. We need to figure out how that can be done with the PRS. I want to come up with a discussion of training at what we do for new registrars and new genealogists at the chapter level. These are the folks that are going to be the experts. We need to be able to make sure they're experts as soon as possible after they get there. And the last thing I'm pushing right now is to develop a form for preparing proof arguments. Most of you can prepare a proof argument without a problem, and you do. And you do some great work. But we're still running into problems with people who are putting in proof arguments that do not know how to set it up, how to get it going. And I would like to have a couple of forms that allow inexperienced chapter registrars and supplemental applicants a chance to do a proof argument that our staff can use. Right now, we have multiple page proof arguments that have no structure, and it takes an inordinate amount of time for our staff to go through. If we can give the new member or inexperienced chapter registrar a template, I think we would improve our efficiency, and eventually they will get to the part where they don't need the form. They can follow the instructions. They have the gist of what it is, and they'll do it without a form as well. But we need to cover those new and inexperienced chapter registrars. This concludes my presentation for the evening. I regret that I did not record the online session, and therefore much of the discussion that we had for this particular program will not be available to everybody. But if you have questions, please contact me, GaryOGreen@gmail.com, and I will try to answer your questions. Thank you and appreciate your time.